All right, it's Chalk Talk. I love this segment because it's not always the top of the news, but it is the top of the conversation at everybody's dinner table around this country if you have kids in the public school system. So today in Chalk Talk, I want to introduce you to someone. She was a star student in high school who went to her guidance counselor to discuss her future. Her counselor, she told her counselor she really wanted to go to UCLA. She was told absolutely not. She's not going to be able to make it there. Fast forward, 30 years later, the same woman graduated from UCLA, has a doctorate degree, and is now one of the highest-ranking public education officials in the United States of America. Meet Dr. Thelma Meléndez de Santa Anna. She is the U.S. Assistant Secretary for Elementary and Secondary Education. Dr. Meléndez, thank you for being with us. As you know, this is a topic very close to us here on this show, the ideas that are out there to help fix public education. And I think we all have to admit, it remains something that needs to be fixed.
Yes, Ali, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you.
My pleasure. Listen, let's talk a little bit about the challenge you face right now, your job in this position that you're in. I mean, I can't imagine being more on the firing line. You have got to deal with something that most American families think is almost at a crisis.
Well, you know, it's... I happen to work for a wonderful administration, and we're taking this head on. We're looking at how we can improve public education for the American children, you know, starting with ensuring that students have higher standards, better assessments, and also looking for ways that we can invest in more effective leaders and teachers in the classrooms.
What would you say is working so far? I mean, you really have, with Race for the Top and with different things that are being implemented in terms of standards, in terms of testing, what would you say, if you were to take a midterm look at this, what's working?
Well, you know, Race to the Top has done an incredible job of moving the reform effort across America with very little money. I think my boss, the secretary, has said that, and it's just amazing to watch. I've gone through different states across the United States, and it's just amazing to see the reform and the focus on ensuring that all kids are successful.
We have a lot of teachers as friends of our show and as friends to all of us because they teach our kids. There are some teachers who think lost in this whole thing has been their role. There are a lot of teachers who complain to us that we seem to dump on the teachers and the unions. Do you think that there's an unfair share of blame that's been going to teachers?
You know, I was a teacher, and I worked up until 10 months ago with teachers. And teachers are the most important person in the school system. And my boss, the secretary, recognizes that, the president recognizes it, and I recognize it. Because without the teacher, and what I call that magical moment, you know, that moment between the teacher and the student, when the student learns, we would be nowhere in this reform.
I know that moment well. I had a few of them when I was in school. Let's talk about that experience I referred to at the beginning. You were one of those people, and I bet you there are lots of people like this in America who have a dream, and somebody doesn't think that they should live out that dream. You wanted to go to UCLA, and you had a guidance counselor who told you that's not a good idea.
Yes, and that's part of the, I guess, what motivates me. It's part of my passion to ensure that all students have that opportunity to go to college. And you know, I was an English language learner. I'm the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants, and I was given the opportunity to do that. And so I almost didn't have that chance. So my work is really about ensuring that all kids have that opportunity.
And you mentioned that you were a child of Mexican immigrants. Hispanics in this country have a disproportionately high dropout rate in school. How do we fix that?
Well, part of the work of our administration is around improving low-performing schools. You know, 2,000 of our high schools, of our lowest-performing high schools, generate 50% of our dropouts and 75% of our minority dropouts. That's why this administration and our secretary is focused on turning around those low-performing schools. And we're providing a lot of money and a lot of support to do some very difficult work.
All right, we hope you're going to come and talk to us again because this is something really important to us and to our viewers. Thank you for joining us today. Thelma Meléndez de Santa Anna is the Assistant Secretary for Elementary and Secondary Education in the government. Thanks for being with us.
Ellie, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.